Alright, let me get some air. I finally got air to stay in these tires. I made a big deal of that last year because remember I had all these issues. So I sanded the inside and treated the rims. Made them nice and put tubes in them. But these, I put some juice in here, but they're still a little flat. Let me put some fresh flat out at them and we'll fill them up to 10 pounds. I gotta put the battery in. And I ordered the seal, the crank seal for this thing. It's still not here. We gotta take the motor out and replace the crank seal, or I could put another motor in. Not that that's a problem, fellas. We could hot rod this thing, right? I like this better than the Snapper. The Snapper's got a better frame and everything, but it's got that horrible transmission. I hate those things. I just don't like them. It is better in a way than this, but this is cooler. Let's see. Uh-oh. I tried charging the battery. Alright. False alarm. It's always something. I got it on like old Uber charge now. Why does it feel like it's getting locked up? This has happened before from putting it on its butt. This one isn't really made to be putting on its butt. Let's pull the plug and crank it over. Okay? I'll go do that while it's charging. I think that's probably the problem. Let's shoot out all the junk. Oh yeah, see all the oil coming out? It's just pouring out. See? Let me get a rag on that. It's gonna just puke all over. This is what it does. It's why we gotta get to this thing. See what I mean? Oh, I gotta go clean a plug. She gonna smoke. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Be on the seat for it to run. Let me pull the seat thing and see if that helps. Let's see. Hey! Oh my! Alright, it stopped smoking a lot. I'm gonna head out. Well, she's running real good, but it uses a lot of fuel. I just put 2 mason jars in and I need to put another mason jar, although the grass is wet and thick and high in some areas, and a lot of it is taller than this, and it's, you know, it's starting to clump and I have to drive over it several times. So it doesn't lose power, it just, you have to make a pass or two over grass like that. So I don't really hear it struggle, although you can hear it clumping, and it is kind of low. I did put it the cutting deck a little low. And of course it's not running right, and when the tank starts to get low, I cut the one tire wrap off, I might cut the other one. When the tank starts to get low, she starts to get a little flaky. So you'll hear it, it'll kick, it might stall. But, you know, for a good part of the lawn, I didn't do this one yet, but for the other section, it just ran so smooth. You know, that smaller carb that I made for it, that's working out good. She restarts no problem. I'm sure it's still leaking some oil, but I checked it. There's plenty of oil in there, so it's not absolutely pouring out, but it's definitely leaking. You know, see, it's got a real transmission in it. You know, like a better transmission, like more conventional, like you would find on most of these, you know, smaller lawn tractors. Yeah, it's leaking a little bit, but it's not terrible. I haven't leveled the deck or anything. And I just did some basic, work underneath here, lubrication. It's a nice machine. It's very comfortable. It's easy to use. The turning radius is okay. Honestly, my big Sunstar tractor, believe it or not, it has probably a better turning radius than this. You wouldn't think it would, but it does. Although this is easy to use and it's pretty comfortable. It doesn't vibrate as much as some of the other machines that I've used. Although it's starting to vibrate a little bit now, probably because the deck is getting full of junk. So we may have to put it up on its butt real quick tomorrow and clean off some more of it. I'll probably do this tomorrow. I'm getting tired. And I got to put more fuel in it. But, hey, this old machine now. 10 horsepower Tecumseh. So they went out of business in 2009. And, they had stopped, slowed down making stuff before that. It's not bad. Yeah, here's the plug. Now, I didn't really clean it when it was burned all that oil off and everything, but she was running good. And that's with the smaller carburetor. I think we should clean it. Give it a good cleaning, pop it back in, because there's still some oil deposits on it. And then pop it back in. I'm going to cut the back section of the lawn. And then maybe afterwards we'll pull it, let it cool down, pull it, and just see what it looks like. And that'll give us a good reference point. I think that's clean now, right? I got to about 28, 30. That should be fine. Let's pop that in. And then later on we'll check it. Got it! Yeah, it's running real well. It's cutting a little different, probably because it's all jammed underneath from yesterday. Cutting high, wet grass, but it's running really good. I think what it needs is when we take the motor out, we're going to put in a fuel pump. Because I just put gas in it, and it's running super sweet. And you can hear it. There's no choke, so it doesn't warm up like an engine with a choke, but you can press the push primer a few times. So I think that's what we're going to do. I like this gear. I think it's like second gear. That seems to work well. Yeah, I like it. I'm going to go keep cutting. We'll check the plug in a little bit. Here's the clutch and the brake. So when you press down on it all the way, right, you can start it and you can stop the machine, and it will basically be in neutral. If you let your foot off of it, it's going to lurch forward. You can only start it when your foot's down.
Did you already drive this thing?
No, you drove the red one, the snapper. This is the gear shifter, but it's already in second, which is a good gear.
And if I want to go faster, I put it to 3?
You put it to 3 or 4. I think it might even have 4. You don't have to cut, so you don't have to worry about the blade. To start it, all you have to do is make sure your foot's down on the thing, and then just turn the starter.
Does it launch me forward?
A little bit, so you gotta hold on. Right? It can pop wheelies too if you want.
No thank you. I don't want to fucking go to the emergency room.
No, okay.
Start it?
Start it up, hold on.
Oh my god.
Okay. Give it a start.
What do I do?
Just turn the key like this. Hey!
Why am I not going?
Let it out. Uh-oh. He's taking a dump live. Well, don't drive over that. Dog ran away. That's the horn. Yeah. He could have crashed it. Hope she doesn't run over the poop. Yeah, that's nice. That thing's pretty cool. There she goes. See a little bit of chocolate? I can't tell if it's focused sometimes on this little thing. But, she's a little oily. It's not really burning. I do have it over full a little bit. Listen, when we get through the motor, when we take it out, right, we'll check it again. But that's not bad, all right? You think, fellas? Too smoke. Yeah, that's good. Right, it's all like protected with a bit of nice, engine style clear. Left it out in the sun all day. I'm going to put it away now. It's getting late, but yeah, I'm all ready to go. I'm going to be needing to mix up some fuel because I have some 2 smoke projects to do for customers. Good timing, and get her done, right? I have some jerry cans in the shed that I need to finish. So that's going to be another project for another day, but I'm happy. Now we can put some real fuel in it. All right, fellas, we're going to get started on this now. I just put some air in the tires, so the 2-track tires, we've tried pumping juice into it. It's not working, so I'm going to have to get some bead sealant. We'll have to deal with that. You can see here, she's leaking, so wait till you see the pedal left. So it's full of oil. We're going to have to get it up on its butt. We're going to get it cleaned off. And maybe a little super clean, get all the oil out of the way. You'll see how bad it is before we can take the engine out. Now let's go over to the shed. I want to show you the mess it makes. All right, so we got to clean this up now. All right, so I'm going to get started on this. See what I mean? So it's just going to make a mess no matter where I put it. It's literally just pouring out, especially when it sits. So let me clean this up. We're going to get started on, we'll just kind of clean up in here a little bit, and we'll get over and we'll put this thing up on its butt and we'll get it cleaned out. So I'm going to get started. All right, so I got it up on its butt, and she's in such good shape. That's why I don't want to get rid of it. You're not going to find one. I mean, I had another one similar to this with an overhead valve motor. So I just wanted to show you the belts are getting ruined because they're getting full of oil. But I took this belt off down here real quick, and it just comes right off. There's just like a keeper over on that side. You'll get a better look later. And so that comes right off. And that's nice. And then it's just a matter of this pin up here. Okay, and on either side is this sort of rotator thing. And you just pop these out of the way. And then the deck will come right off. So that's why I say I like this thing. So this guy just went here. Just like that, right? So just take that off. And there's a pin. You shove the deck to one side, you pop the stud out from here. You shove the deck to the other side, you pop the stud out from there, you slide it out. Now doing it on a lawn is a little bit harder. But on concrete, if I did it in the garage. See, these are the studs I'm referring to. Belt's in good shape, even though it's got oil on it. We'll clean that off. All this is in good shape, okay? It sounds fine. There's no issues with it. The brake is on right now, but I checked the bearings. We're just going to give it a quick cleaning, okay? And it's very simple and well built. That's what I like about it. Now I come over here. What I did was I put it in park, essentially. It's like neutral and park at the same time. But what it does is a secondary belt in here, and you should be able to see it. And it takes the tension off of this idler pulley. And this main pulley, it's a double pulley, is bolted on, so it'll slide right off. But what we'll do is we'll take this stud off. See, that's a stud guide. Once that stud guide comes off, okay, you can then, I can actually grab the pulley. It will come right off. I grab the belt. It will come right off that pulley. And then we'll be able to get it off the top of that pulley. And when we unbolt this, this will come out of the way, leaving all the other mechanisms as is, right? And then it's just these bolts here. There's one here, and there's one down there, one up here, and one down there by the idler, which you can get to because I've pulled the idler out of the way. And then the motor will fall out, right? So what I'm going to do, because it's getting late, I'm going to wash here with the pressure washer and a little Superclean, and I'll wash that guy. And then, although I want to take the skirt off because there's oil trapped in it and everything, we can't. We're just going to give it a quick, blast, because there's oil down in there and all up in here. So we'll just give it a quick blast just to get rid of the bulk of the oil out of our way. And we'll have this thing off tomorrow, maybe even tonight. We'll see. I'll bring it in and we'll put it up on the lift, and that way we can get to everything the way I want to. All right, pulley's out. See, everything is in such good shape. Okay, so you see in there? All right, this thing I took one bolt off. I'd like to take both, but I can't get to this bolt easy, and I don't know if I want to do it. So I'm going to pop those bolts out, that I showed you earlier, and the motor will be loose. So I got two there, there, and then these guys here. We got one here, one down there. So it's otherwise it's in good shape. And then I put a little bungee. It's already pissing oil again all over the place. So it's just making a mess. I just put a bungee here. I might put one more because I don't want it to fall out, right? And then we'll put it down on all fours, and then I just have to disconnect some of the electric. I forgot to do that. All right, I got oil coming out. Should have done this before, but because it puked. But it's all disconnected, so a little bit. Once that's done.
The next morning.
All right, turn it over on its side. How clean this thing is. I had to get, there was one more bolt I forgot about, and so it was just easier. I had to, in order to get to it, I had to make up all of this. And this is on a wobble, and this is on a swivel. And I had to, you have to break them loose too with a wrench first. This little impact won't do it. We need a bigger boy. Although I like the lighter weight one though for other jobs. Now we need to find out, we're gonna clean this. So the oil is out of it, let it drip all night. And it certainly does look like it's coming from the seal, right? Look at all of that, see it dripping? See, that's a drip because it was leaning on its side. So it's, I think I have the right seal. Let's go take a look and see. We'll put this up on the bench over here or over there or something, and we'll give it a rinse, let it soak, and I'll blow it off and let it dry the rest of the day. Everything's got to be really clean, fellas. So we're going to have to take this off, which comes right off. There's just a couple of bolts. We'll take this off because that's in our way. We'll do that on the bench later, but we'll give her a good wash. You know, everything needs to be clean because we have to open this thing up. Okay, this seems to be the right one. It fits on the shaft, and it looks like it fits properly within, you know, the sump, but we won't know, right, until we actually install it. So we got to get it apart. Yeah, you can see she's just leaking like a sieve. All right, I decided to use a little electric again. That's what I used yesterday. So this is the Teander Washer, Teander Mr. Liance, or as I often call it, the pressure lance. It works pretty good. Like, you know, for dealing with the stuff that I'm doing today, it's easy to deal with. It's easy to set up. It has just enough pressure. It's more than the hose. Because we want to, kind of, like I said, I want to get in there a little bit more, get it cleaned up. And then there's some stuck junk laying around. So I just set it up over here. And I'll do this, and then I have something else to do. So I'll do this, and I'll leave it sit to dry for the rest of the day while I go back to work on another customer's machine. Yeah, junk just was still stuck in there. It's clean now, fellas. That looks real good. This is a nice transmission. Spicer. Right? I don't see any way that we can fill it, and it doesn't appear to be leaking or anything. Like, we went over and pulled the rims off and cleaned the shafts and lubricated that. We can, later on, we can, before we're done, we can put some lubricant in here, chain wax, lithium, you know, different stuff. So a little bit of staining or whatever, but it's cleaned off enough to where we can start working on it.
Later.
All right, I checked my replacement gasket. It's different. It fits everywhere but here. This one has an additional shaft here. Oh, there's Mr. Doggy. All right, what are you doing, Doggy? He doesn't know. So this is what all this stuff looks like here. And there's just a little bit of debris in the bottom. We'll wash this out in a bit of a, you know, old solvent, and then blow it out. Wiped it out with a tissue. We sucked it out. It's clean. This looks fine. All right, nothing wrong there. And then these two marks, you can see them, right? They're lining up. See? If I drove it a little bit further, you'd see it. It's fine. Shoved everything back, so the pressure is off there on the crank. And this is how we're most likely going to have to assemble it, just like this. So I cleaned it off, this area off with brake cleaner, and we're going to put some ultra black on it. And just a little bit excess here and here where the gaskets meet. We'll clean up all the holes and everything with a Q-tip. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to time it. We need at least 20 minutes to a half an hour before assembly, at least on one half. So that's what I'm going to work on now. And then after that, this got cleaned, and yeah, you can see it. See? Oh yeah. Let me change the camera setting. That's a little bit better. See it? And you can see it better, right, with the crank out. But that's it. That's where it's pouring from. Really, the finger is the only way. You could try to run a bead, but you don't want to, because I want this already flat. We're just really, on this run, we're just trying to enhance the gasket. Not necessarily make it, because the gasket just broke. So over here, we want thin. And then we'll have to use a Q-tip to get around those corners. Because you don't want this stuff coming out into the engine. And a lot of people, they put way too much. You have to put that much. That's bad, because at that point, you will need a gasket. But this should work fine. You want to try to keep it off those locating pins, because otherwise you'll never get them back together again. So I'll come back and clean this side up good. And that's what the Q-tips are for. And if you get too much in, pull them out, pull the extra out of the holes, anything by the gears, anything that you think is excess. All right, now I'm going to go work on just detailing those little areas. It's a little tedious, but I'm going to work with my Q-tips. And then we'll go pull that seal out. And we should be able to assemble it tonight, but just not tighten it all the way, so we don't blammo it. The nice thing is about having some gasket here is that the gasket itself will take up a bit of the space. It will stop it from over compressing, and any area where there is a void will stay filled. All right, let me keep going. All right, I got it set up here. So the idea is to just kind of catch the seal. I think just kind of catch it. You want to get the metal part. And basically the tool just kind of rockers it out. Which, that's a nice tool. And then I'm just going to straddle it. Perfect. Alright. And see if we can drive it down. Hopefully it's the right seal, but try to just catch that metal. There we go. Without damaging anything. There it goes. Yep. Alright. Let's reset the camera so we can take a peek. Ow. There's a bit of casting flash. And I'll try and give you a close-up, but you might be able to see it. I'll get the other camera. Yeah, I'll get the other camera. It's right here. And it's going to keep this from the oil from getting into the bottom seal and crank area. It's just a pathway. These seals are identical. Okay. And you could put a little Loctite. Let's see how it feels. Yeah. And she's good. Before, there's two spots, there's two pathways for oil. There's one here on the side, and there's a little groove cut in. Let me show you that right here. Okay? It's a bit of casting flash. Oh, I'm going to just work that. So here's one hole here, and of course here's the groove. And you can see a little bit of sort of, it's not scratching, but I would call it scuffing. You got to change your oil, right? All right, let me take care of that, and then we'll assemble it. So you got this that fits in there. We're just going to knock that with a hammer, and then when I'm done with this, we'll kind of wipe it out, and we'll put just a tiny bit. You can use just a scotch of Loctite or a little bit of Gorilla Snot if you want. I got a bit of cat thread locker. It's kind of like, it's a gasket maker. I don't know if there's anything that, yeah, there's a little bit. It's a bit more anaerobic. So I'm just going to squeeze a little bit on. I don't have much left. All right, and then I'm going to wipe it around. And I'm going to remove any excess. right? Because we don't need much. And this way I know how much we have here, because it's a very small amount that we need, and we don't want to be locking up those holes or anything. Okay? It's just like a schmear. And the lighting's not great. It's the end of the day. And I don't feel like rigging up all my other lights. I'm getting tired. Let's see. Get it kind of even and flush. Yeah, almost. Went a little crooked. That's still going a little crooked. It's hard. There we go. Come on, baby. Still a little crooked. There we go. Straighten it out. Hear it? Yeah, she's in there all the way. Now she shouldn't come out either. And we don't have so much cement in there either. There's just a little bit I can see. Let's give it a wipe. That's good. Now we'll take some grease and kind of go in by hand. Not too much, but just to give it something to get started on everything. And then we're going to take a little bit of a thick weight oil, mix it up a little bit, give it something to work with, right? For a startup, a little bit more. A touch of grease and a touch of oil. And stir it around, and that's good enough. Make sure it's all up in here. Before I start it, I'm going to be spinning this thing over with oil in it, generally with the plug out, and that splashes the oil around everything. All right, I got to wash my hands at this point. All right, let me go wipe up. All right, you can't see. I'm not touching my camera, so you guys got to wait. And then we'll come back, and I want to put a little bit of RTV on it. Stand by. Almost done. Now this is a little loose, so we're going to try to shove a little bit underneath there too. I might shove a little of that cat stuff underneath because it's more liquidy, and I can run it underneath with a Q-tip. Now this we don't have to wait as long. I don't know what the time is yet. Now it's in these areas here where the brakes are. That's kind of where we're really trying to hoping to get that seal back, because the rest of it'll seal up. So you don't use much. Again, that's in one of those areas. I have a little bit of this cat stuff left. If I could just get a little bit, sneak a little bit underneath, and hopefully it'll cascade. Peel this up a little. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. I can't hold it at the same time, but I wish it was a little thinner even. There we go. Oh yeah. That'll help. That cut that stuff down. Where was the other one I found? This one over here. And this over here. So it makes a bit of a mess. But we don't mind. We'll wipe everything when we're done. Yeah. Cascade like this. Oh, a little too much. We'll get that out with a Q-tip. We could use that. Perfect. Let's get that excess out. That'll work. There's one more spot. Here it wasn't so bad. Here, some of these areas I could just do this. I could put it on with a Q-tip. Just kind of snake it underneath. You can also just use the RTV too. And put maybe a little bit more RTV there. I think we're good. Yeah, that's stuck down good. There we go. Now I'm getting some of it. Same thing here. There we go. I'll put a little bit more RTV on that. It's one spot. A couple of spots I see it. This is the wet kind of load. Because we're not going to wait that long for this to dry up. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's building up good. Alright, that's done. Now we just take another Q-tip and just make sure these holes are free and these locating pin areas are good. Because that'll make it difficult to install. All right, I think we got it. All right, let me check the time. I gotta clean up again. All right, it's 25 minutes since we put it on the engine. So if I can give this 15 minutes to just sort of, you know, tamper up and check it. I don't want any excess here. So I'll go check the time on that. So yeah, we'll just wipe up anything I can see. That's it. We're going to leave that sit. We're about ready to reassemble. And like I said, we'll put the bolts back lightly. You know, just kind of snug. And then tomorrow we'll tighten them. Oh boy, fellas, we're getting there. No, not with this one. All right, don't forget to come back and check out part 2. Right, we're almost there. We're gonna get this awesome machine running again. No, not this one. Okay, the green one. Stay with me, fellas. All right, we're gonna get back to that. And yeah, come back for that. We're gonna get it running and keep your eye out. I'm not sure when I'm releasing the work on this one. Not that one. This one. See you guys in the next one. Archer's Garage.